Hello everyone, welcome. So welcome. So basically, in this wonderful individual reading, this can be for Virgo. This can be for Virgo of March 21st to March 26th of 2026. So anyway, for you Virgo, I need to understand what's going to be happening in this way, right? We have to acknowledge what's going on this way and whether you're feeling, how you're going to be, whether you're going to be okay, whether you're going to have a good day, a bad day, whatever it is. But Virgo, you need to pay attention to whether you're going to be feeling. You're going to, how you're going to do it. You're going to distract yourself. Maybe you're going to feel like it. But that's how it goes, okay? So, in this oracle card, it says, loneliness. I know that I am never alone. That is true, when you have loneliness can come and go as it wants to in your own daily life. If you're very single, if you have nobody to be with, and that's how it goes. But you know what, Virgo, you need to pay attention to how you're feeling. Yes, you need to have your own concept. Yes, you need to think about outside the box rather than being in it. But the way all this is, you have to pay attention. There are times where you have to understand of how is it going to be. You have to believe it. You have to achieve it. You have to do exactly the right way instead of the wrong way. That's how it goes. But the way this is, when you use the word loneliness and you're being lonely, whether you're sitting on the couch, whether you're sitting in a chair, whether you are, being alone, or you are in a dark room and you're being alone, whatever it is, you have to think to yourself and saying, why am I being lonely? Why? Well, that's a good question that you have to answer for yourself, Virgo. You have to pay attention to it. And that's how it goes, okay? So that's how it seems to be. So in theory, this is how it's going to be based on what's going on that way, and you have to understand what's going on in that way. So, the cards are already shuffled. We're going to figure out who's going to be on the left side, who's on the right side, who's going to be in the middle, and we're going to figure out what's going on. So, this is how it's going to be in that way, and this is how it's going to be in the way of how it is. So here we go. So in the way of how this is, we have the Knight of Swords. There's drama here. Drama is a part of acting, and when you have drama is going to be into the acting role if you are into that way. You have to understand that, Virgo, you have to pay attention on how you're going to be acting like this. So you might be doing it in a Gemini, Libra, Aquarius in that way, okay? So that'll be you on the left side. For them, 8 Pentacles reversed. There's no perfection, right? You're not being perfect. I have no idea why, Virgo. But the way how this is, you have to pay attention on what's going on. You have to pay attention on how you're feeling, no matter what, right? No matter the outcome is. So the way how this is, the way I'm going to try to do what I can here, that's how it goes. So let me see what's happening in this way, okay? So let me clarify this Knight of Swords here. 5 Wands, there's no chaos. Queen Wands, there's charisma. 10 Wands, there's healing. That's how it goes, right? So when you have your own temptations, that's how it goes. You're going to have your temperance, you're going to heal. That's what you want, right? Because that's how it seems to be. On their side, let's see what this 8 Pentacles about. So you have the 10 Cups, there's completion. King Cups, there's no support. King Wands, there's no leadership. And Page of Cups, there's loyalty. Yeah, so you might be with a Pisces, Cancer, Scorpio, because you think that you want to be a wonderful, human being that you are, Virgo. And whether you want loyalty, you want to have that. You want to have respect. You want to have the way how you're going to show up in many ways. You think to yourself and say, well, I need this, I want this, that's how it goes. But if you have your own way and you're saying, okay, I need to do it, that's how it seems to be. You have to get to the point. And when you get to the point, that's how it goes. So what's this temperance about? 9 of Cups reversed, there's no romance. 4 of Cups reversed, there's no distraction. Here for reversed, there's no guidance. Queen of Cups over, there's empathy. Yeah, because there's two types of this right here. What makes sense, what doesn't make sense. But you decide. If you don't want, romance, and you don't want, distraction or guidance, you pay attention to what brings you, right? That's how it goes. Because you have to understand about if you are beneath the surface and you're up above the surface, that's how it goes. If you're beneath the surface, then you're looking at two sides of the story here. What makes sense, what doesn't make sense. But you decide. You decide what works, what doesn't work. But how would that be? How would that be impossible to make it possible? You know what I mean? That's how it goes. Because if you choose to have empathy is two sides of the story here. You have to understand that. Okay, Virgo, you have to get to the point. For them, let's say what this Page of Cups is about. Page of Pentacles reverse, there's no prospects. Page of Swords reverse, there's no education. H1 sorry, there's new beginnings. Obviously there is. Because when you have a new beginning, that's how it goes. You're going to face that. You're going to face it head on. And, majority, you pay attention to what's happening. You have to know what's going on that way. Whether you choose that background, you choose that emphasize of how it is, right? That's how it's going to be. And when you do it, that's how it goes. You have to think to yourself and say, well, I need to do exactly what I can. I need to be responsible. Yes, because being responsible is how you're going to act in many ways, right? So when you have a new beginning, you have to start from the start, middle, and end. That's how it goes. But you focus on that. You focus on how it's going to be in that way. You have to do what you can. You have to do what you're told to do. That's how it goes. So let's see what's in the middle of this situation, please. So we have the High Priestess already. You're going to use your voice. Probably the ones is already you're feeling resilience. For one, sorry, there's celebration. The Devil is right. There's obsessions, addictions. That's how it goes. It's like if you're acting like you're being, naive, and you're acting like, well, it's not my fault. Well, you keep continuing it, right? You have to believe what you're going to do in that way. You're going to focus on that reality. Get yourself a reality check, okay? You have to know what's right, what's wrong, You're trying to be vigilant of what you're doing. Because you're basically trying to figure out that, okay, I'm going to do this correctly. But you're doing it the wrong way. You're doing it the wrong profession, right? You have to know about what you're going to be doing head on, right? It's almost like a head-on collision. You're going to try to figure out, you're going to aim exactly the right way instead of colliding it. You know what I mean? You have to pay attention whether you're going to act like you're going to be nicely rather than being mean or rude, right? So if you're saying violence and you're saying, bad language, swearing, whatever it is, don't do that. Maybe you're basically saying that. Maybe you're going to say to somebody, leave me alone, I'm not going to talk to you. Then that means that, whether you're going to have violence or you're being mean or you're being, who you are, and you have loneliness right now, that's how you're acting. You need to behave. You need to be strong enough. Who knows? You might be dealing with another Capricorn. I don't know. But you know what I mean, right? So you have to believe it in that way. So let me clarify this Queen of Cups here. World is over, there's completion. Okay, the Devil. Emperor, there's no structure. Ace Wands. Wheel of Fortune over. So you're going to have good luck. Okay, so let's see what's happening. What's going on. So let me clarify this this World card. Let's see. So we have the Nine of Swords reverse, there's no trauma, okay? Emperor. Five of Swords reverse, there's no conflict. Okay, what's this Wheel of Fortune? King of Cups, sorry, there's support. Okay, so we know what's happening on their side. Okay, Virgo. They want support and they want to have it now. What's this Nine of Swords here? Six Swords, sorry, there's movement. Yeah, because you're going to move forward. Opposite with this Five Swords. For Wands here, there's no celebration. Okay, so back to the Six of Swords here. Nine of Swords, there's no romance. Yes, exactly. So when you have no romance, you're cutting off of it. You don't want romance anymore. You had enough of it. You know, in Virgo, when a Virgo says no romance, she's not playing around. Right? That's how it goes. What's this for ones? 2 Wands reverse is no planning. 2 Cups reverse is no relationships or friendships. Because you broke that off. Right? If you want to have loyalty, if you want respect, that's how it goes. But if you broke off relationships and friendships, Virgo, you're going down. Because you know why? You're not trying to pick up yourself. You're not trying to stand up for yourself. No. So if you are basically having negativity and you don't like it, you have to treat people with respect. If you don't treat people with respect, people are going to leave you behind. Right? And then you're going to say, oh, it's not my fault, or it is my fault. You're going to change that around. Act like you need to pay attention about your attitude. Maybe you're going to change it. Because right here, this 2 Cups reverse, there's no relationships or friendships. You're cutting that off, Virgo. And I know, I hate to say this to you, but when you have negativity, people are going to walk away from you. They won't say hi, they won't do anything. They will leave you alone. And that's how this loneliness comes in. You know what I mean? That's how it goes. What's this 9 Cups about? 5 Cups reverse, there's no grief. Okay, back to this 2 Cups. 8 Swords, there's anxiety. Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Because you're being sad, you're whimpering, because that's how it goes. You know, and when you're treating like that, even if you treat family members or your friends or your whatever it is, and you used to have it, you're acting like it. You're saying that it's not my fault. No, it's not my fault. No, you keep continuing it. That's how it goes, right? That's what it kind of is. Because in that way, you think to yourself and say, well, you know, I don't want to, you know, exclude myself. I don't want to do what I can. So that's the opposite with this 5 of Cups here. 10 of Swords, there's conclusions. There's always conclusions. Right from the start, the middle, and end. So you might be dealing with another generally recurs in that way, okay? Now what's this King of Cups here? 10 Wands, there's burdens. Followed by the Star is upright, there's inspiration. 9 Wands reverse, there's no immaturity. 3 Wands reverse, there's no communication. No, because you're cutting that off. You're cutting communication off because that's how it is. That's how you're feeling about it. You know, and you're saying, you know, why me? Why me? Why me? Because that's how it goes, Virgo. You get to the point. So that's opposite with this 3 Wands here. Hangman is upright, yeah, because you're having restrictions. You're being restricted because you can't talk right now. On your foolish behavior, okay, Virgo, on your foolish behavior, you're acting like it. You act like the only one that people will start to run away from you. They won't care about if you love them, if you hate them, if you whatever. And if you're acting like, you know, a bad woman or whatever you are, then you have the restrictions. You're being restricted. You know why? Because when you have no communication whatsoever, you're cutting that off. You're cutting communication because you have restrictions. Something's bad is going to happen, sweetheart. Something's bad is going to happen. You know why, Virgo? Because you're going to make a lot of enemies. People will start to run away from you. And they will caught you off guard. You know why? Because enough is enough. You think to it. You think to yourself, it's like, well, you know, it's not my fault. No, you keep continuing it. Stop doing it. What's this 10 of Swords about? Magician is alright, you want skill. Yes. You're going to have skill because you're going to have a right attitude. Keep that up because that's how it seems to be. What's the 8 of Swords about? Here, friend, you want guidance. That's what you're here for. You want guidance because that's what you want. That's what you get. That's what you want. Things to happen in the right way. That's how it goes. What's also with this Magician? High Priest here says no inner voice. Whereas over there's completion. Everything's completed for you. What's this Hierophant? Terrence here says no healing. Hermit reverse, you already have a soulmate. Taurus over there's transformation. Yes, everything's changing. Yeah, what's this Hangman about? Taurus, there's no progress. Five of the star is upright. There's inspiration. Yeah, because you're going to wish upon a star. Yeah, you're going to figure out what's going on. So let me clarify this world card. Or just yours, there's no skill. Just yours is not telling the truth. Yeah, because you're lying about something. You're lying that you might be in love with somebody. Maybe you're lying because you think that, oh, I'm not being mean, I'm not being rude. Well, you know what, Virgo? When you have the justice reverse, you're not telling the truth. You're lying about something. If you want to be a liar, you're going to lie a lot. You're going to be like Pinocchio, right? You're going to watch that movie over and over about Pinocchio with the nose that would be longer. Because you know why? Pinocchio is actually a liar, and he will make lies, right? That's in the Disney movie. Check it out. But you know what I mean, right? You have to pay attention to it, Virgo. If you act like oh, it's not my fault. No, I didn't do anything. Yes, it is. Yes. Like, are you thinking that you're being stupid right now? Like, I'm laughing at this. Like, are you being stupid? Think before you act. Think about how you're going to do it, how you're going to reflect. That's how it goes in that way, okay? What's up with this tower? Full years, there's no change. Star? Wheel of Fortune reverse, you're going to have bad luck. Obviously there is, yeah. What's opposite with the Fool? Star years, there's no inspiration. Opposite with Wheel of Fortune? Devil's upright. There's obsessions, addictions. That's how it goes. Yeah, that's how it is. What's also with the star? If the Emperor is upright, you want structure. That's how it goes. Opposite with the Justice. Sure, yours is no progress. High Priest yours is no inner voice. Sun card yours is negativity. Yeah, it is. Also with the Emperor. Hierophant is upright. You want guidance. Opposite with the Sun card. Those yours is no decisions. Death card yours is no endings. Here, the judgments are you're taking action. Obviously, there is. It's when you're taking action, you want things to happen now. So it's like no pain, no gain, right? No pain, no gain. Because that's how it goes. If you're actually stuck in the right position of having negativity, and you cut everything off, that's how it goes, Virgo. You're saying to yourself, well, I don't need this. I want to be left alone. Okay, fine. Do whatever you want, Virgo. Do whatever you want. But how would you keep doing it over and over and over? It's like, what do you want? Do you want a playmate? Like, are you serious? Do you want a playmate? Oh, I'm being funny. But you know what I mean, right? Virgo, you have to pay attention what you're going to be doing. That's how it goes. Like, I'm not making this stuff up. It's actually accurate right now. And when it's accurate, that's how it goes. When it's accurate, it's accurate. And that's how it seems to be, right? Everything is going to be accurate. So, let's see what this universe is saying. I'm going to go from the middle to the right, middle to left. Three of Pentacles is over there. There's excitement. Here for reverse, there's no guidance. Two on reverse, there's no planning. Queen Cups over there's empathy. King Pentacles over there's security. Six Cups is upright, there's movement. Ace Pentacles over there's growth. Nine Swords reverse, there's no trauma. 3 1 over there's communication. You're going to communicate. You're going to try yourself communication. You have to be honest with that. Okay? You have to be honest. What's in the middle and the left side? 9 1 over there's immaturity. 10 over there's healing. 6 of Pentacles over there's kindness. 5 Pentacles here there's no insecurity. Ace of Swords is upright, there's understanding. Strength careers, there's no bravery because you're being scared. Seven Pentacles over, you want to look for a career. Yeah. But you have to remain, you're going to remain of having your own kindness. Have respect. Have your own sensitivity. Right? That's how it goes. And when you do it, that's how it kind of remains. Because right now, if you have the Six of Pentacles upright, and that represents kindness, let me clarify that card. Judgment is over, you're going to take action. Page 1 is over, there's invention. Ten Cups is over, there's a delusion, so you might be having a deja vu moment. For one, is over, there's celebration. Eight of Swords is over, there's anxiety. Yeah, exactly. It's like you know what you're going to be doing, and that's how it goes. And when you have to know that you're going to tell the truth, you're going to tell the truth in a different perspective way. When you choose to act like you're not in negative anymore, you don't need that. But if you keep continuing it daily, every day of the week, that's how it goes. Virgo, you get to the point. Because there's 3 wands here, right here. You can clarify that. 8 wands where there's speed. 7 swords is there's no deceit. Queen of Swords is upright, there's independence. Exactly. 3 of Swords is upright, there's heartbreak. Yeah, because that's how it goes. You want communication, but then you cut off the communication. That's how it goes. So you have to pay attention. That's how it goes in that way. You versus them in this situation. They are feeling sad and heartbroken. You're having anxiety. That's how it goes. What's in the middle of this situation? Hangman Reverse has no restrictions. But just celebrate their skill. King Cups is upright their support. Yeah, because you know what, Virgo, you need to have support. No matter how you're going to do it, that's how it goes in that way. Because, later in life, when you pay attention to it, you have to understand that, Virgo. You have to go with the flow. Because in that way, in how it is, you have to pay attention to it. You're probably saying, woe is me, I can't do any more, I quit. Well, you know what, Virgo, you have to understand that. It might be you versus them, right? They might be dealing with another Pisces, Cancer, Scorpio, Virgo, Capricorn, Taurus, Gemini, Libra, Aquarius, Leo, Aries, Sagittarius. Okay? That's how it goes. But you know what? In that aspect, that's how it's going to be. You have to understand that. You have to remember how you're going to do what you can. You're not playing ball here. You're not playing ball. You're not, right? So you have to act like you need to pay attention on how you're feeling, And in many ways, you have to pay attention to it. There's no need about having negativity. If you're going to bring negativity at home, or if you're going to have negativity somewhere in this, wherever you are in the city or in town, whatever it is, just leave it there, right? But if you bring the negativity towards your home and you're not happy, well then, the word I'm going to say it to you is you have loneliness. Loneliness is a bad thing, but it can be a good thing at the same time, right? So that's how it goes. But I hope you all like this video. Try to understand that. Try to get a like and a comment if you want. But that's how it goes. So that's how it seems to be. So thank you so much. Have a wonderful day to all. And I'll see you next time when I do. And that's how it goes. So have a wonderful day. And I'll see you next time. And that's how it goes. So thank you so much. Have a nice day. Thank you. Bye for now. Really thank you. And have a nice day. Thank you. And bye.